Hello, everyone, and welcome back to your favorite podcast. It's called Stop the Internet Podcast. I'm Kelee.
I'm Jimmy. Here we go.
Sorry, I just froze. I had stage fright. Welcome back. It's
Thank
been
you.
a while.
I know. I feel like
that to everyone.
It's been a minute.
I know.
For real.
Since June, I think.
Yeah, well, the last one we did, I think, was at my house.
Yeah, and it was before I went to France. Is that so crazy?
That is crazy.
You're looking very tan.
Thank you.
Oh, did you want to make a statement about your beard?
Yeah, so I am Jimmy still, if you guys didn't recognize me. But I'm growing out my beard for the first time ever in my life. So
that's exciting.
It looks a little, I don't know, like cavemanish right now.
You think?
I have to, because I have to clean it up.
Okay.
Like it's more of a neared, like a neck beard than a beard right now.
I've never heard that word.
Maybe I made it up. You heard it here first. I don't think I did. But my electric razor, which I need to use for it, has been in Philadelphia and I have been traveling. But tonight I'm getting cleaned up.
Tonight the neared is gone.
Yeah, but I'm afraid that I'm going to do it wrong and then I'm going to have to just shave the whole thing off.
Aw.
So.
Well, yeah, okay, because then you would need it to all grow evenly. I don't know.
I have friends coming to stay with me tonight, so I might just ask them if they could do it.
Yeah.
That's like the test of true friendship.
You could do that thing that people do with their eyebrows where they draw, they get a white crayon or chalk and they draw the outline.
That's what I should do, yeah.
And then you can map it out.
Yeah, I think I need to do something like that.
I believe in you. I think it looks good. I said Jimmy looks very mature with the beard.
She's calling me old.
No, I think it makes you look I don't know, it's a choice, you made the choice to have it.
Yeah, I figured before school starts, because I work for school district, so I'll see how I feel about it.
Yeah.
And then I could always just shave it off before school.
Yeah. No, I actually do like it. I think you look good with it.
Well, we have 2 weeks to the day to let it keep filling in.
2 weeks until school starts?
Yeah.
Wait.
Yeah, we go back on the 20th of August this year.
What?
Yeah.
How?
I don't know. And we still get out the same time. But we get 2 weeks off for winter break.
Is that not typical?
Mm-mm.
August 20th?
Yeah.
That's
Kids don't come back till the following week, but still, everyone's before Labor Day.
Oh my God. That's kind of a crime.
I know. It's okay, though.
Before Labor Day?
Yeah.
Wait, I'm shooketh right now.
You're going to live it up for 2 weeks?
Yeah. Holy moly.
What else is new?
I don't know, but I feel like summer's going by at an alarming rate. But I have a prediction that this September is going to be very, very warm. So I think that it'll still feel like summer in September. But a problem that I have with that is as soon as it turns September, you have all the fall girlies and the spooky season girlies being like, let's get it started early. And while I love getting things started early, like the Christmas season, for example, I love getting it started early. If you want to start celebrating Christmas in November, do it up. I'm all for it. But I think November is a boring month. September is such a beautiful month. And it is now, at least where we live, it's more like summer than it is fall most of the time. So it's kind of sad because I feel like if the beach girlies and the summer girlies are strong enough, we could keep September.
You want to reclaim it?
Well, I guess not reclaim it. I want to claim it because I feel like this is the first time that it's the seasons are changing. September is going to be more like summer. And then fall is but this is the hard thing about my theory. And my mom just said that she saw someone say this. I don't know who it was, but the seasons are changing. So summer is now July, August, September, and then fall is October, November, December, which is actually true because winter doesn't formally start until December 21st. So most of December is fall anyway, but because Christmas is in December, I think people trick themselves into thinking that December is winter, and it's oh, why don't we have a white Christmas? Because you don't want snow during fall, But then fall gets cut short because of Christmas winter vibes. Socially,
Yeah.
And then so socially, summer gets cut short because of fall vibes, but summer gets cut short in actuality because June is now cold.
Yeah.
At least it was here. And I was in Paris in June and it was very, very cold. June in Paris, people were wearing boots, stockings, and trench coats. It was so cold.
Wow.
Yeah. Well,
that's crazy.
I overheard someone say that it was the coldest June that they've ever had. So it's not typically like that, but it was like that this year.
Wow, that's crazy.
I know.
Yeah, I know. And I saw on Facebook that the pumpkin is coming back like next week or like in a week and a half. Pumpkin's already coming back. But I was at Dunkin' this morning and I literally was tempted to be like, do you have pumpkin yet? Because I'm not like someone that loves fall, but I like pumpkin flavored things. So I'll start that part of fall early, but the rest of it, I'm down for summer. I think September is a comfortable summer month too, because it's not as hot, but it's still warm. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The days aren't as long, which is like sad in some ways, but also like kind of gives you that like summer nights feel.
Yeah.
You know, better.
Totally.
And I like when I'm down the shore, I like when the nights you have to throw on like a sweatshirt, you know what I mean? Or like sweatpants. And I feel like anymore, like July, August, like it doesn't even get cool at night anymore.
No.
You know what I mean? It's just hot.
Yeah.
Like the low is 83 and it's like, really? That's hot. So I'm saying this. I was just telling Kelee that I was staying at my dad's house for a few days and he doesn't have central air. So I'm running hot right now. So I'm like, I know the lows more than I know the highs. Because I'm like, it was 83 degrees at night and I was waking up sweating.
No,
so,
that's crazy.
Yeah. But
I could not do 83 degrees at night. No. Actually, I had this thought because I was at a wedding over this past weekend and it was literally like 95 to 100 degrees. Like it was so hot. And I felt bad because I'm like, I was photographing it. So it doesn't even matter what I look like. I could be drenched in sweat. Doesn't matter. I felt bad for the bride and groom who were dressed in their beautiful outfits and they felt hot. They didn't even look sweaty, honestly, but they were like concerned that they did and they felt sweaty. Anyway, so my train of thoughts was like, what did people do before air conditioning? And when was air conditioning invented? Because people now in the summer, and we live in Pennsylvania, the wedding was in New Jersey. This is not even close to being the hottest place in America, let alone in the world. Like imagine living in Arizona where it's like 120 degrees or something. Like is it? Okay, I don't know if that's maybe like on Blacktop or something. That's like a thing. I don't know.
Hot. Yeah, it's definitely hot.
It's over 100 degrees like consistently out there. What did people do before air conditioning? Like are we just becoming weaker or did more people like die of heat stroke or did people just live very uncomfortable lives until it was invented? Like I don't know. It's just a weird thought to me because at weddings especially it's like everyone's dressed nice so they want to be inside and like if people had like 5 minutes of downtime they're like, oh, can we stand inside? And it's like absolutely go inside, cool off, be comfortable. But what would we have done if air conditioning didn't exist?
Everyone probably just smelled like shit.
Yeah.
You know, like people probably smelled and you just like had to deal with it. I don't know. And
maybe the clothing was less regulated. Like now it's kind of expected that regardless of how hot it is, you wear a suit to a wedding. But I don't know. I heard this because have you ever noticed that almost every sport except basketball, the coaches wear like a uniform or sporty attire, and then in basketball they wear a suit? I heard that that's because basketball is in a regulated environment, so you don't need to wear, and it's not, I guess like a baseball field is dirty, a football field is cold, like you don't need to dress for the weather or the elements at a basketball game, so therefore you should dress to look nice and presentable. Yeah, that makes sense. And it's kind of the same as a wedding. Yeah, that's hard though. Do like most weddings that you take pictures for or shoot for, do like the bride and groom have like fans? Like are they like a big thing now, like the neck fans or like the handheld fans, or is it not as like common as you would think? I've only seen it a couple times, but I do also think that most people don't get married in July and August. True. So the main wedding season where we live is like May and June and September and October. And this year was the first year that I had a good handful of weddings in July and August, and some of them were friends' weddings too. So I don't know. I guess maybe it's because weddings are so, I don't know. Am I tripping, or is there just like way more weddings now than typically, or that there used to be? 5 weddings in 6 weeks. Yeah, I had this summer, and I don't even like. That's insane. But no, but I don't think that it's that. I think that it's our age. Wait, but okay. I was just gonna say that that's definitely part of it. That's 100% part of it. But even wedding vendors say that they have way more weddings than they did pre-COVID. And so like for a little bit, like in 2020, every wedding was canceled. So then 2021 and 2022 was when people were having their wedding that was canceled in 2020. So 2021 and 2022 were crazy. But then it was 2023, and maybe there was a few more trickle down. Now it's 2024. and there's still a ton of weddings. And next year, there's even more than there was this year. Actually, this year was like a downturn in wedding. Like, isn't this insane? Think about how many weddings that we both had this year, and all your friends too. An insane amount of weddings. This year, historically, was like the lowest amount of weddings per like industry standard, other than COVID, I guess. But it was because of the engagement gap, because typically people will meet, couples will meet, and they will start dating. And 3 years later, or 3.5 years later, they get engaged. And then a year or half a year later, they get married. So 2020 to 2023 was when all these people were supposed to get engaged. And then 2024 was when they were supposed to get married. But because people weren't meeting in 2020, there's way less weddings in 2024. And I'm like, tell me how we all have this many weddings then.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't get it.
No, I don't get it either. There's something in the water up here because I was getting hit left and right with these weddings.
With the invitation?
Yeah, which like, and a lot of them are like such good friends. And like, I love that, obviously. Like, I would go to their weddings, obviously, anytime. But I'm like, oh my God, another wedding. Like, daddy's going to go broke. Like,
I know. Erin said she asked you if you wanted to be her date to our cousin's wedding. And I was like, seriously, if I was him, I would just say no, because like you have so many.
It was too many this year.
It's too many. And it's okay, wait, I'm going to sound like a hater. I don't mean this. But like once you go to like 10 in a year, they're like not really fun anymore. I don't know. I feel like there's like novelty in going to like 1 or 2 weddings a year. And like my job, I shoot weddings as a side hustle in addition to the podcast.
Yeah.
No, but yeah, I feel like it's changed my perception on weddings because I just go to so many of them that I'm like, yeah, I could like have a week off where I don't attend a wedding, I guess. And then also attending weddings is weird because I'm like, I feel like I should be working.
Right.
I'm like looking at all the details and I'm like, did someone photograph this? Like,
right.
I just like notice so many more things, I guess, about them. But yeah, I don't know. I just feel like the more you go to, like, is that mean? I feel like that's like really mean.
No, well, I feel like your perspective on weddings is probably different than anyone else's just because of what you do for work on the side. For me, I'm like, as a guest, like always, right? Always the guest, never the groom. It's great. I actually like enjoy going to weddings. Like I cry at every wedding that I go to, basically. Aww. Like, you know, love. It's great. But the novelty of it does get a little bit changed when it's just like, another wedding this weekend. Another. And also I feel like I have friends kind of all over. So then it like adds in like the travel element on top of the wedding element. You know what I mean? So there's just like more that you have to plan for. But I would do it for my friends like any day. You know what I mean? It was just a busy year for me for weddings. Next year doesn't seem as busy right now.
Okay.
Is there any wood around here? Knock on wood. But we'll see. Because the save the dates are starting to come in again.
Yeah. Okay, what you just said made me rethink. I think it's maybe when it's distant people, it wears off, because I actually agree. Like, if my close friends got married, like, I would eat it up. It would be so special and sentimental. But I think it's like when it's like a partner's cousin that I've never met and I'm meeting them for the first time on their wedding day, or like a friend of a friend that invited you that you're not that close with, that like doesn't really happen to me that often. Or like even a distant family member for me, like my cousin that I grew up with did just get married, so that's not what I'm talking about. But like, I don't know, I've definitely had cousins in the past where I didn't like, where I was in high school and they were way older than me and I wasn't that close with them, that it wasn't the most like sentimental thing of my life, you know, because I just like am not that close with them. But I do think if it was a close friend, I wouldn't feel like it's a burden to go to their wedding.
No, yeah. And that's why all the ones that I had were like all close friends. So it was fine this summer. It was just like busy. You know what I mean? The like family type ones, I feel like a lot of times families say like, oh, you see each other at like funerals and weddings.
Yeah.
I feel like my family's not like that just because I'm mainly like really close with my dad's side of the family. Like no one on my mom's side has really gotten married that I know of, I don't think. But like the ones on my dad's side, like they're basically like siblings to me. Like we see them all the time and like they all live in the same town still that like my dad lives in. So we see each other all the time. So like the weddings are exciting still. Right. Because we're really close to them. You know what I mean? But I feel like a lot of families talk about weddings and it's like weddings and funerals. Yeah. And that's like the time that everyone gets together. And for like our extended family, obviously, but like my dad's siblings, kids and everything like that, like all of their weddings have been like such a big deal for our family. And like we're so excited. But then our like extended family probably feels that way. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I feel bad saying this now because I'm thinking back to the recent weddings that I've gone to that I'm like, okay, wait, I didn't really feel that way about any of them.
I know.
But I guess it's, okay, I actually think maybe it's just more the idea of having so much like commitment and like, I don't know what it is. Because when I'm in the moment and also when I'm working, like I like love it because I like my job a lot and like it's so fun. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's just that like it is like the travel and like the how are we getting there? How are we getting home? Like where are we staying kind of thing. I don't know. But then it's like my other friend's getting married in the fall and I'm so excited.
And I feel like it's more so looking at your calendar and like every weekend
that
is filled.
Definitely what it is.
I think that's what it is. It's not like, because even for me, like it's not always like the task of the wedding. It's just that like there's a commitment that I have this weekend. For me, this summer, it happened to be weddings. Like that was like the main, like most of my commitments were weddings and like my family vacation and like this weekend with my friends at the shore, you know what I mean? But so it just so happened that a lot of my weekends were weddings, but I think that it's more so like the commitment, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Like it's been a while since I just had like a weekend where I had like no plans that like I could be like, oh my God, Friday night, like, oh, like, do you want to grab dinner here? Like a last minute dinner thing, or like I could just sit on the couch and just like not do anything. Like I haven't had that. I don't know the last time that I had that.
Yeah.
Just like for the summer, you know what I mean? And I moved this summer, so it's been a busy summer, but in general, I think that it's more like the commitment thing, not the wedding.
Yes.
thing.
I think this is like a therapy session because you just broke down my 4 walls and I'm like, wait, no, you're right. That is what I mean. Like I thought it was the wedding itself, but no, that's totally what it is. It's like the fact that when so many of your friends like reach this age where like people typically get engaged and married, then it's like boom, boom, boom weddings. And it's like, no, I don't yearn to not go to people's weddings. I yearn for more free time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because then on the day of, when it comes, it's so fun.
Yeah,
and that's what
like
I just
exciting.
That's what I was just saying about like my cousin's wedding, where I'm like, but my cousin just got married and I didn't feel that way. So what do I feel? Yeah, I think it is that.
And you did like an episode kind of recently about like the whole wedding thing and like bachelorette thing.
Yeah.
Because that's the other thing now. Like an engagement now means an engagement party, a bridal shower. Like maybe like sometime the grooms will do things now too, you know what I mean? Like just like a small thing with like their groomsmen or like extended whatever.
Wow.
Or they'll do like a combined like a bridal shower with, and it's just like a party basically.
That's fun.
I feel like a lot of people have been doing that. And then the bachelorette and the bachelor party, like for me, I'm like the token gay, so I'm getting invited on the bachelorette and I'm getting invited on the bachelor party. Yes.
Wow.
So like it's just like there's like a lot of commitments that goes a lot, and then if you're in the wedding, then it's like the rehearsal dinner and this and that, you know what I mean? So it's like more, it's not just like one event, you know, especially because it's been my close friends and I love that I'm involved and like included in everything. Like I like am not, you know, complaining about that part like at all, but it's just like, again, it's not like one commitment. It's like, but but I like it. If I like love getting invited on both, I'm like, oh yeah,
that's so
I
fun.
can see like both sides of this wedding party.
The clout,
you know?
Yeah.
Not even like the clout, just like seeing like what the bachelor parties entail versus the bachelorette is like insane to me.
Wait, what is
like I just
what's
like
the differences?
Just like the bachelor parties are usually so like laid back and like there's no real itinerary and like people are just coming and going and it's just like chilling. At least the ones that I've been on, like they've been like in the Poconos and like, you know what I mean? Like nothing crazy. And then the bachelorette's like you're getting like the itinerary like 3 months in advance with like the attire. And you're like, okay, I got to get a black outfit. I got to get a pink outfit. I got to get, you know what I mean? And it's just funny to see like the differences in them, you know, but it's all about just spending time with the people and you know, whatever way. I think I would probably do the Poconos if I were to get married because I would love just like a weekend of like relaxing, like, low key, you know what I mean? Everyone thinks that I'd go to Nashville because like it's my place, but I don't know if I would do it.
I feel like you have to do something that's different than a lot of the ones you've been on because it seems like you've gone to so many, and Nashville's such a big spot that I feel like you need to do something that's like not one that you've experienced. Well, maybe not because you've been to the Poconos on them, right?
Mm-hmm.
So maybe
but
that's
I love
not
the Poconos.
Yeah. Especially when it's warm or when it's cold, actually.
I know.
And you like cuddle up and like with a fire and stuff.
Yeah, like fall.
Yeah.
And, like the foliage is changing and everything.
Yeah.
But
oh my God. Bachelor.
How did we get here?
I don't know. I have no idea. Should we talk about our topic?
How did we go from the beard to this? Didn't we? Right? Like, I really don't know how we...
We actually just went from facial hair to bachelorette parties. I don't know. To planning your bachelorette party or bachelor party.
My bachelor party, and I'm very single. I don't know if that was shared on the pod the last time.
I think it was.
I think it was, yeah. Yep.
He's available.
I'm back on the market.
I love that for you, though.
I'm glad you do. Just kidding. I do too.
It's a new start. Well, I was just going to say you're living alone, but I don't know if you want people to know that for safety reasons. Do you care?
I don't think anyone's tracking me down. If they were, maybe I wouldn't be.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it is a new start.
It's a new start.
Yeah. With a beard.
With the beard.
I feel like it is going to set you apart.
You think?
Yeah. I don't know. He's a new man's.
Maybe I'll even try the glasses look because, on last Wednesday I went to the Phillies game, like a noon game, and my friends were down and they were like, can we just stay with you for the night? Like, you're coming home tomorrow. Like, you could just drive us home. And I was like, oh, okay, yeah. So then we just stayed out all day on Wednesday.
Okay.
And I got home and sat on my glasses and I broke them. So, but I think it's like a sign from God because I've had the same pair of glasses since I was in the 10th grade.
Wait, the same lenses or just the same style frames?
No, the same.
Your eyes
everything.
haven't changed?
I don't know. Well, I can't really see out of them that well. I just wear them to bed.
Okay.
But then
contacts?
I have contacts.
Okay.
Yeah. But then I really wanted like to try the glasses thing, so I ordered some online, but they made me like really dizzy, like they were not the right thing.
Yeah.
So I think it's a sign from God that I need to get real glasses.
Okay. Wait, where did you order them from?
Forget the name of it.
Warby Parker?
No.
Okay. I know they send you like a bunch of like
something with the Z, I feel like.
Okay. I didn't know if it was that one where I know some people do the Warby Parker one where they send you like 5 different frames and you try them all on and then you pick the one that you like.
That's what I want to do.
Yeah. I've heard really good reviews of that. They have like great customer service apparently.
Yeah.
I think the dizzy thing is normal though, especially if you're getting a new prescription. Or did you get a new prescription or no?
Well, so I went to the eye doctor and they like did the prescription and gave me it and everything like that. But I think what the problem was is that they didn't give me my pupil distance or whatever. Yes. So I had to do it on my own and I probably measured it wrong. But like I literally like tried wearing them one day and I like had a horrible headache and I felt like I was going to throw up. Like they were like, they were off. They were not right. So then I was going to send them back and they were like, oh no, just donate them and we'll refund you, which was great customer service too.
Wow, yeah.
So I did that, but I just never ordered new ones. But now I have no choice.
Yeah.
Or I could super glue my old ones.
Wait, how are they broken?
Like on the lens, like the top part of the frame is cracked. But I could glue it. Like I've been wearing them still.
Okay. That is like such a fear of mine. The idea of breaking my glasses, especially in a time that I would actually need them, like if I was traveling and I didn't have contact, I don't know, I would be so upset.
I know. But like imagine beard and like the Harry Potter lenses. Oh.
Kind of snatch.
I could kind of look like one of those cool kids.
Wait, you should go to like any store that has glasses to try on. I actually would. I've never thought about ordering glasses online because of the people distance. I've always ordered them in a store where they measure it for me. But I did, growing up, my vision would change so much every year and I would have to get new glasses every year. And they did make me very dizzy on the first day or two. And so I had to, I mean, it didn't make me sick, but I was definitely like, I was seeing like warped things. Because it's almost like when you look through a magnifying glass for like the first few seconds, everything looks like warped. That's kind of how it looked. But then after a day or two, like my eyes would get used to it. And then it became very clear, like way clearer than my last year's glasses. But I can't imagine doing that pupil thing at home. Like that seems very difficult.
Yeah, I don't know. And I don't know that I did it right. Costco apparently has cheap glasses.
Yeah.
So that's why maybe I'll go there and try to just do it there. And I think that they like will measure you and everything there too.
Yeah. And they really know what they're doing at all those glasses places. I feel like every time I've gotten it done, the person's like known what they're doing. And
and they know what looks good on what kind of face. And because I don't know,
Mm-hmm. Don't make them or don't let them talk you into something that you hate though, because there's definitely been a few. I'm so indecisive and I had the same style like black frames for so long. And then I was debating getting gold frames because they had like way bigger lenses and I liked how big they looked. But then the big lenses on the black frames was like overpowering, I think, for me. And this girl, I don't know, I think I was on the fence about a few and she was like trying to rush me. And I was like, okay, wait, I just need to take my good old time because there's nobody else in here. You're not closing anytime soon. I'm not asking you for help.
Right.
Like, I just need to decide what looks good on me. And I think, I don't know, I feel like it's happened where they give me a suggestion that looks good, but it's not my favorite. And so I just take a long time to decide on like which one I actually like. And I'm glad I went with the gold, actually.
Yeah, and it's like a big decision,
Yeah,
you're the one
they're
that has
so
to wear them
too.
Yeah.
And I'm the one that has to wear them every single day.
Yeah.
Unless I have contacts in, but
Right.
Yeah. Okay, should we talk about our topic? Now that it's been 45 years.
So funny.
Did you have any final thoughts about glasses? I feel like I stole that discussion at the end, actually.
No, I have none. But I'm gonna listen to your advice and take my time.
Yeah, take your sweet
Because the virtual try-on was hard for me to figure out. I didn't hate the ones that I got.
Okay.
They just obviously didn't work because I got 2 pair, but neither of them worked.
Where do you donate them?
What's the place that I did? Oh, it's like Green Drop.
Oh.
It's called. They like take anything basically.
But do you write down the prescription so that they can give it to someone with that prescription?
I put the card in there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Then I'm sure they'll get them to a good place.
I don't even think about that.
I always think about donating glasses. Like, I mean, there is definitely someone out there that has the exact same prescription as you. Like, it's not that crazy to think. But I do think about, like, how do you donate glasses that, I don't know, they're all so specific, you know?
There's probably, like, a company that like, is dedicated to that. I'm sure it exists.
I think there is.
Yeah.
I'm sure they're connected. I've heard good things about Green Drop, actually.
Yeah. Maybe they want my 10-year, or my, not 10-year, like 15-year-old frames. Yeah.
Oh, frames.
Which my mom made me pay half for because they were Ray-Ban.
Oh,
they're like Ray-Ban glasses. And she was like, and she picked them out for me. My eyes were dilated. She was like, oh, these ones look good. And then we get up there and they're like, oh, they're $500 for the frame. And my mom was like, are you nuts? Oh, you're paying half. And I was like literally in 10th grade. I'm like, Mom.
Wait, $500?
They were expensive. Yeah, and I cracked them. But I got my money's worth out of them.
Yeah, I think you did, actually, after 10 years.
Yeah.
15 years, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know how long ago 10th grade was.
What year was it?
2011. So 13 years ago.
Yeah. Oh my God, that's insane.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
And that's just like a guess. I think I might be being generous saying 10th grade.
Wow.
I don't think my eyes have really changed though.
That's good.
Much. And like I don't wear glasses in general. Like I'm a contacts person.
Yeah.
But it'd be nice to like have the option. You know?
I went through a phase where, a long phase, years, where I only wore contacts because I just didn't like how I looked in glasses and I didn't like wearing them. Like they don't, like I like with contacts, you can see everything like clear at all times. Whereas glasses, you have to look through the center front of the glasses. And if you look to the side, like it doesn't cover your peripheral vision, you know?
Right.
But then I wore my contacts way too much and I had this thing happen where it's not like a disease. What would they call that? Infection? I don't know. Basically, I felt like there was something in my eye. So, okay, click forward if you don't want to hear something about medical problems with eyes. Okay, there was bump. Do you want to hear it?
Yeah.
Okay. I need to ask for your consent as well. There was bumps on the inside of my eyelids, and that happens when, or it could happen when you wear your contacts too much because your eyes need oxygen. So you're supposed to at least wear your glasses for a few hours a day, whether it's in the morning or at night before you go to bed, because if you wake up and as soon as you wake up, open your eyes, contacts in, and then go to bed, contacts out, close your eyes to go to sleep, your eyes don't receive any oxygen. So that was literally what I was doing. And the doctor's office, like they always said, oh, just make sure you're wearing your glasses one day a week. And I'd be like, haha, yeah. I never did. Never. And then that happened. And the doctor said it's not like a terrible thing to have happen to you, but it's just difficult to treat because the drops that treat it have side effects, like negative side effects if you use them for too long. So you really have to be monitored when you use these drops. And so I had to go back exactly a week later, or maybe 2 weeks later. And then he's like, okay, I'm going to have you use these drops for like 3 more days. Do not use them for more than 3 more days. And I was like, well, now I'm scared to use them at all. He's like, I think we'll be fine with 3 more days. I think it'll go away. Don't use them longer than that. Okay. Make sure you don't. And I was like, oh shit. And so I didn't ever use them again. And it went away eventually.
That's scary.
Yeah, I know. I was like, okay, I'm not gonna ever touch this again.
Yeah, because you don't want to mess with your vision.
No.
Like, no.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad you're doing better.
Thank you. That's so nice. Okay, now let's talk about our topic. We're talking about commonly, what are we talking about? Commonly avoided red flags, or like red flags that are very common. Sorry, what am I saying? Red flags that it's very common that people just let it slide.
Yeah, like easy ones to avoid, or like whatever, slide.
Yes. I was inspired by this because I saw this girl that I follow on TikTok. She reenacts really cringy red flag moments that people post online and they think it's normal. And one of the most recent ones was a bride and groom were like jumping in a pool on their wedding day and they're holding hands. And then at the last minute when they like jump, the groom steps to the side and the bride jumps in the pool alone. It's so shocking. Like, why would you post it, first of all? That reminded me also of when people shove cake in each other's faces at weddings when you specifically don't want them to. And I have heard that correlates to divorce rates. I don't know if that's true, but I wouldn't be surprised because I've just seen too many times where like the groom looks so mad and like chases the bride around the room to get her back after like booping him on the nose. We need to relax. It's a boop on the nose. Either wipe it off or just lightly boop her back. Like, you don't have to shove the whole cake on her whole face, you know, or boop her on the mouth where she can lick it off.
I feel like that needs to be a discussion. If you're getting married, you need to have the cake discussion.
Yes.
I think that's like necessary.
It's so sad too when you see the videos where the girl says, don't do it, please. And then they like do it anyway.
Oh, that's a red flag.
I know.
Yeah.
And then the other one that I was seeing more recently is when it's like this trend that's like, when you date me, you also date my best friend. And so I saw two examples. One was when a guy, basically this girl like jumps up and like wraps her arms and legs. You know how like you can hold someone where like your arms and legs are wrapped around them, like waist and neck. And she jumps up and she's like, when you date me, you also have to date my best friend. And then the best friend comes up and jumps on the guy from like the other side. And he like grabs her too, but he grabs her like under her butt. And they're like, the hand placement is sus. And then I saw another one where they kissed and then the guy kissed the best friend on the lips.
See, I think that's like taking it too far.
Me
Don't
too.
You? I don't know. I get that whole like, you're dating me, you're dating my best friend thing. Like that's some people's things, but like you don't gotta kiss my best friend. Like no way.
The holding
no
one,
way.
I think like there's a chance that is innocent and maybe she was just like because he wasn't watching her when he picked her up, and so like where he like scooped her up just was her butt. And like he had to also hold her. Yeah,
you kind of have to scoop someone up that way, I feel like. But
yeah. So that one I'm like, okay, maybe the kissing one is crazy. The kissing one happened to me in high school. I was like dating this guy. We were like, I don't know, I was like so juvenile, but I forget like how it came up. But like my best friend like forced him to like kiss her. And like at the time I didn't care. And I think like looking back, it was because I didn't like him that much. And so I didn't actually care about it, but she was definitely like a snake, and like I'm pretty sure they like hooked up after we broke up.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I don't think that.
Yeah.
I think that might be like a little too far.
No, I agree. I would never want to actually, the thought of kissing my friends' boyfriends is like disgusting to me.
Right. Yeah. Like why would you want to do that?
Yeah. I'm like, ew. Don't even hug me too tight. You know?
Yeah. Watch your back.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, those are all inspirational to what we're talking about.
Inspirational.
Yes.
Yes.
Relevant.
Do you want to tell me one of yours?
Okay. So this might have some crossover from like our other one that we had done.
Okay.
One for me that I feel like is commonly ignored. And this just like might be a personal thing, like a risky driver. Like,
yes.
I just feel like so many people are like, oh my God, I know, like he drives crazy, like blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, when I'm precious cargo, like not when I'm in the car, but also like, I don't know. I feel like risky drivers are red flags. Like to me, a risky driver is a red flag. There's like rules of the road that are meant to keep people safe. That's the whole reason why like we wear seatbelts and there's speed limits and everything like that. So I'm like, you want to question authority or like push the limits so hard, like in your impact, you could impact other people. Like to me, a vehicle is almost like a weapon. Like you have to be responsible with it. You know what I mean? Because you could literally kill someone. So I feel like risky drivers are a red flag that a lot of people look past. And I'm like, well, no, like we shouldn't be looking past this.
Yes.
That might sound dumb. I don't know. What do you think?
No, actually, I agree. And the more I think about it, like the people I know or have encountered that drive risky, they all have another problem. And it's like getting mad too easily or just like losing your patience. Like it's not always just because you just want to get there faster. Like, it's literally because you think you're better than someone else. You get angrier easier, so therefore you drive faster. I don't know. I actually really do think that.
Yeah, I had another one that's like a rule pusher, and I put like why, like it's giving privilege. Like I almost feel like that's the same, like they go together. You know what I mean? Like you are privileged, so like, or you feel that you're privileged or like better than someone else, and like you're protected by whatever it may be. Why can't you just follow the rules? Like that's not a rule that needs to be broken.
Yeah.
You know, and I feel like you had said, like short temper, like road rage, kind of like it goes along with that, and like I don't know, it's just like all of that just encapsulates how a person might be to me. Like it, like that is like a feature of them that gives me a little insight into like the type of person that they would be. Like they're looking for problems.
Yes, I totally agree with like almost like questioning authority or getting mad at an authoritative figure for doing their job. Like if you were to get mad at like a bouncer for checking your ID, it's their job to check your ID. I would get it if they took. Okay, I'm thinking of this one time where I went into a bar down the shore and there's like this one guy that literally looks at your ID for like a minute and a half, and it's like, okay, come on. Like, one, I come here all the time. I literally recognize you, whatever. Maybe he doesn't recognize me, but it's not like my ID says I'm like 23 and I look nothing like it and it looks so fake. Like, I have a valid driver's license and I'm 28 years old and I'm with my parents. Like, can we please just like look at the date, look at me, and keep it moving? And last summer, literally like 7 of my friends were down and we all went in there and he literally looked at the IDs for a minute. So by the time the last person walked through the door, it was 7 minutes later. I'm not being dramatic. Like people had already gotten their drinks by the time the 7th person had their ID checked. I can see why people would be annoyed in a situation like that. But I would get annoyed if like people were annoyed at any bouncer or being like, oh, you can't bring like a security person being like, you can't bring that bag into here. It's just a rule we have. And then getting mad that they like enforced a rule that they have for everyone's safety. Right. Something like that.
Yeah, I know. And those ones especially like I really don't get upset with. Yeah. Because like I'm like in this world where like people sneak things in whatever which way. Yes. Like there's a reason that they have the precautions or whatever, like the rules. You know what I mean? So when you do question that type of stuff, it's like these were posted online. They were posted in the like before you go email. Yes. They were posted on the tickets. There's 70 signs outside of the venue that say this, or you know what I mean? Like even like pepper spray at bars. Like a lot of girls I feel like get really upset that like the bars won't let you bring in pepper spray.
That's never
like in Philly.
Me.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you have pepper spray that you bring out with you?
Oh, not every time, I guess. Sometimes.
Usually, like for like the bigger clubs, like in Philly, like they will not, like pepper spray is a weapon. Right. It's like you're not able to bring it in with you. And they're like, I'm just trying to protect myself, blah, blah, blah. But like it could also cause like so much chaos. Like if you were in the middle of the dance floor, just like pepper spraying the fuck out of everyone, then like people could get really hurt. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So like even that, like you're protecting yourself on the walk home. And I totally get that. Like I don't blame a lot of people for like carrying pepper spray. You know what I mean? But in those other circumstances, there's a reason why you can't.
No, that's such a good point.
Yeah.
I get why there's times where you would be annoyed and maybe would try to like reason with them. Like one time I was in Vegas and I was going into a club and I had my migraine prescription medicine in my purse and he was like, you can't bring in any like pills. And I was like, okay, I totally get that, but this is a prescription for a medical problem that I have. So is there any way I could like explain that to you, give you more clarity? Like it's in a pill container and I didn't want to throw it out because one, what if I needed it? And two, it's like I pay for it. Like, I don't know. He was just like giving me a problem. And I was like, I have a prescription for this. I can show you like my prescription like on the CVS pharmacy where I got it and it will match. And also I'm saying this when there's no one in line. So it's not like I'm holding up like 100 people. Like people were like coming in and there was a bunch of different lines and I was the only person talking to him and we weren't like in a rush or anything. Anyway, so I was like, oh, but it's like medical thing, whatever. And he's like, I don't have the jurisdiction to like make medical decisions about what's valid and what's not. And I said, oh, okay, but like, what if it was an inhaler? Like, I would have to bring an inhaler in anywhere with me. And he was like, oh, well, an inhaler is different. And I was like, I forgot, I don't think I actually said this, but in my head I was like, oh, so you can make a medical decision about that, but not about this.
Right.
Like, so you are picking and choosing which medical, like, problems you want to like adhere to and which ones you don't. I don't know. It was so annoying. And finally I was like, okay, fine. Like, I guess I just have to like throw this out. I did. And it was so annoying because I was like, what if I need that medication like later tonight? And like now I don't have it. It was just so frustrating because I'm like, it's not like Advil that I can just go and buy a new one. Like, I would get why you wouldn't let Advil in, because anyone can open a bottle of Advil, put any type of pill in there and close it and go. It's a sealed prescription that is, you can only get it from by a doctor with a prescription, and the whole package is sealed. Like, I don't know. I was like, come on. Like,
yeah, that's frustrating.
It was so annoying.
Was he like mean?
Or
was he just kind of being like, this is like what I have to do?
I feel like there was part of him that just like didn't want to give in to like anything, but it wasn't like the worst person I've ever met. Like, I've definitely met bouncers where I'm like, come on, like, you can clearly see, or not even bouncers, but like I have interacted with like people in authoritative like roles where I'm like, we can like talk reasonably, and they just don't want to be like, it literally happened at our podcast party. Me and Rebecca talked about it on like our episode in the fall, but the bouncer at the bar that we had our like holiday party at for the podcast was one of the like rudest people that I had interacted with in so long, and he was just clearly on a power trip. And I was just trying to explain to him that our event that we coordinated with the manager is taking place in the upstairs back bar, and he was just like, okay, go. Like, I forget exactly what he said, but he was just being so short with me, and he's like, didn't want anything to do with me or the people that I was with. And I was like, this is just such a strange interaction, because in my mind, I'm trying to make your job easier, because when 50 people show up and they say, oh, where's the back bar with the podcast party? Like, wouldn't you just want to be like, upstairs to the right? Like, wouldn't that make your job easier rather than like every single person being like asking you more and more questions? Like, I don't know. That is just a perfect example of like, you're on a power trip and you think you're better than everybody else, because why? Because you get to check IDs at the front door?
Right. I know. I feel like some people in like authority have like a complex 100%. And it's like crazy because like it's not necessary. Like, no, it is in some situations. Yes, like you need to like be, but in other ones it's like, what, like, can't you just like be a person?
No,
like,
a
human, like normal, like whatever, you know what I mean? Like, you don't have to be the big bronzy, like powerful person right now. Like, you could just talk to me and like,
I know,
we'll figure it out. Yeah.
It's like they can't be reasoned with because they have like a big shirt on that says security on it. And it's like, okay, I can still talk to you like a human. We are all like on the same level here, when it comes to me not breaking the rules, just having a conversation with you. Yeah. Like, that's when it bugs me. And I think it's a red flag when people are so mad at the reasonable people in authority, because there are authoritative figures that can be reasonable. And it's like, when you have a problem with that is when I think it's a red flag, or when someone gets so mad. Like, if people were like flipping tables because they weren't letting you bring like a certain thing into a bar, I'm like, all right, relax. Like, they have a rule for a reason. And like, at the same time with the prescription medicine thing, yes, it made me mad, but I also can see where they're coming from, because people probably could fake anything. I guess. Yeah. I don't know. So whatever. I'm sure if I like went and talked to the manager of the whole hotel, and I was like, this is a life-saving medication. Like, if it was like an EpiPen, I don't think it would be a problem. Right. I think it was because it was like, he saw it as like headache medication. Right. I don't know. I was like, whatever, I'm just gonna.
I know, it's hard too, because like, obviously, like, if you're like bringing in, I don't even know what kind of drugs are like bad at this point to bring into like a club, but like, if you are bringing in like a bad drug to the club, like, you're probably not gonna like push for it. Like, you wouldn't have it in your purse, you'd probably have it like in your pants. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'd shove that in my crotch or whatever. Yeah. And you're not gonna like do that. So.
I know. I also should have just been like, okay, I'm gonna go throw it out in the bathroom, and went and like put it in my shirt or something, but I didn't think to do that at the time.
Right. Yeah. No, or you'll like just down the bottle, like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
Yeah. Weird. Yeah. I agree with that one though. Okay. Do you want to give me another one, or should I give you one?
It's up to you. What do you think?
I'll give you one that's on a different wavelength.
Yeah, let's switch it up. Go ahead.
Self-deprecating humor. I feel like this is such a, I don't know if it's like a red flag, but it's definitely something that I don't like. And if it's your whole sense of humor to be like making fun of yourself, you're probably not funny and you probably just believe those things. And then kind of going along with humor, when people make the same jokes over and over again to like different groups of people, and I've seen that happen, and I'm just like, that is just not a funny joke. Like, unless you're trying to be a stand-up comedian, don't say a joke more than once. Like, you don't have to say the same thing to like every new person that walks in the room. In addition to self-deprecating humor, someone that just makes mean jokes about other people and their whole sense of humor is just tearing someone else down or making a mean, sarcastic joke about their friend or about somebody else. I think it's the lowest form of humor, and it's very common in like young people. So then if you have friends from like childhood that you grew up with that never grew out of it, it's like, oh, they're my friend. But then you realize like, oh, wait, no, all they do is tear me down and make these dumbass sarcastic jokes that aren't funny. And so why am I friends with them? You know?
Yeah, no, I think especially like I've seen so many people in relationships that is like the relationship that they kind of just like bag on each other. It's like all the time. I'm thinking of like my one friend from high school who was dating this other guy, and like their whole entire thing was like, oh my God, like look at him, he's doing this now. Like I can't believe him doing this. Like blah, blah, blah. Like say his name was like Kyle. I don't know. Oh, there goes Kyle again. Like he's just gonna get drunk. Like, bro, like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
And like thinking that it's funny, but like, I'm like, wait, like you guys are just like attacking each other like nonstop and like trying to act like it's a joke. I don't get that. And at some point it becomes like mean, like it crosses a line.
It's like, do you even like the person?
Yeah. And it can't be like a sustainable type of relationship when that's like how you get into it all the time. Because when there's no audience, then it's just going to get mean. Like you're not going to laugh at your jokes about each other when you're with each other. Like little things, you know what I mean? Like you trip up the steps, I'll be like, I'll be dying, you know what I mean? But like, not like attacking like you. And just in general, like deprecating humor, I feel like is just not it.
I do feel like growing up, or when I was just even younger, I don't know, I also had that like skewed perception of relationships where I'm like, oh yeah, everyone's like mean to their partner. Like everyone jokes around like that with their partner and they like make digs at each other. And then the older I get, the more I'm like, oh, I don't need someone to make digs at me. Like, sure, if I trip and we both laugh it off, sure. But like constant digs, I'm like, that is not healthy and I just don't want it. I don't think it's funny. I'm sure maybe there's anomalies that think that's funny and that's like what they bond over. But I always find that very odd when couples or friends are constantly hating on each other. Because it's like, do you actually just hate them? Like it gets to the point where I think that people just don't actually really like each other that much.
Yeah, and like little, like, you know what I mean? Like little quips, like I think it's funny.
Oh my gosh,
like, you need to have that in a relationship, obviously. But like I like know so many couples, I feel like that, or like even there are some people that I know who are married. They'll like say one thing, and I don't want to get like too specific with like who, like what it is that I'm talking about, but they'll say one thing like as simple as like I made dinner every night last week, and it's like, or like, oh yeah, like I made this for dinner, and this for dinner. And then the other person's like, well, what are you talking about? Like I made like burgers on like Wednesday night, and like, why didn't you tell them that? Like I made those too. And it's like, whoa, like I don't know where that even came from. You know what I mean? Like we were just talking about, like I said I tried this new recipe and I asked like what you've been making. And then like the partner jumped in and was like, well, like, you know what I mean? Like it just seems like always there's something with, yeah. And I don't know, like when you're in a relationship, you should be building each other up for the most part.
Yeah.
And like I said, little quips and stuff, but
no, that's so true. Yeah. I think that comes from like if you're defensive like that, you are probably so insecure about what you're doing. I shared this story like very, very recently on the podcast, I think, but maybe not very recently. But anyway, in my first relationship, like first boyfriend ever, I remember we were down the beach. We had just gotten like coffee and bagels and like a donut. And I was like, oh my God, yay. Like, are we going to have a fun beach day? And he was like, what? Like all the other days aren't fun? And I was like, you're so sad inside. Like, why would you ever say that? Like, that is just no one that's actually happy and secure in their life and who they are in the relationship would say that back to you, you know? Like that would just be like, I don't know. And it ended very soon after that.
Yeah, well, it's like a yum yucker type thing, you know what I mean? Like people that always are trying to do that because like that's something that like you were excited about and like you could make a really, really good day out of it, you know what I mean? And like have fun together in that way, but then like you're immediately it's like literally raining on a parade, you know?
Literally.
And, oh, I hate that.
I know. So annoying.
Well, it's good that you got out of it.
Yeah. And I feel like that person like wasn't like that all the time, but like towards the end of our relationship when like things were rocky, it was like always so, I'm sure I did it too though, but like that was one that I realized that I'm like so defensive, and for what? Like you're allowed to have 2 good days. Did you know that? You're allowed to have a good day all the time actually. Right. And it doesn't negate the last one or yesterday's good day. Like just so annoying.
I know. My friends too that I was thinking about that were dating when I was in high school. Well, it wasn't even high school. It was into college. But I remember like it was so hostile all the time between them, and it was so uncomfortable for like the rest of us because like I had grown really close to him, but the girl that he was dating was like my best friend since when I was in like 1st grade. Like I knew her forever. And then I had known him since maybe like 5th grade. So like I knew him pretty long too, but not as long as I knew her. And I loved them both like and cared about them both deeply. They just were not meant. Like you could just see it that they were just like not meant for each other. And I remember the last time that I had hung out with them, because I was away at college when they were from home, and the way that he was talking to her and like treating her, and like she just looked so upset, and like both of them just looked like exhausted. Aww. Like they did not look good, you know what I mean? And I literally like pulled him to the side, and I knew how much it was gonna hurt my best friend because they had gotten engaged.
Oh wow.
And like they were doing it, but they were not like that. It was not good. It was not a good situation. And I was like, how do I do this? Like it's gonna kill her if he calls off the engagement and everything like that, but like it's not sustainable. Like this is not it. Like they can't do this forever, you know what I mean?
It's gonna kill her if they go through with it.
Yeah. And I was like, then you're going to waste all your money and time and like energy and you know what I mean, in this wedding or whatever. And I remember like I called him and I was like, we need to talk. Like the way that you're treating her is like not okay. And like I'm not blaming you because I could see that your heart's not in it anymore either. You need to say that. Like what you're doing is dragging her through the mud. Oh my God. Like you can't do this to her. Like it's going to suck. But like we got her. Like she'll be fine. It's going to be really hard at first. You know what I mean? But like I would rather you like break up with her and like call off the engagement than like do this to her, because I could see what's happening to her. You know what I mean?
I just got the chills that you said that to them.
No, yeah, I had to say it to them because and like all of us were on the same page. We're like, we got her back. Like we know she's going to be upset. You know what I mean? And like, I don't know, but it just like was necessary. And like then looking back, like eventually she was like, no, you're right. Like I'm glad that, you know, is the way that it went down because that wasn't good. But I don't know. Like I feel like they were both afraid of hurting each other, and they both cared for each other a lot, but they knew that they weren't for each other at the same time.
Yeah.
So they were just going through the motions, but that was like their main type of humor, just like digs all the time, digs. And I was like, we can't do this, guys. Like, stop.
Yeah. I think it's a balance. Like for every 8 compliments, you get 2 digs.
Yeah.
Like,
I think that's a good balance.
Yeah, you can't have 8 digs and 2 compliments, or 8 or 10 digs and no compliments. Like that's unsustainable. Yeah. Wow, that's crazy. Wow, I'm so proud of you for saying that.
Yeah, that was like one of like the hardest conversations I feel like I've had with a friend. Just because, like I said, she had like her bridal party, like boxes ready and everything. Like it was like legit, like a legit engagement. You know what I mean? And I don't think that I was the driving force necessarily about him calling off the engagement, but I think that like the way that he had said it to me afterward, he was like, I needed someone to say that out loud to me, you know what I mean, because I didn't want to hurt her, and like there are so many people in her life that I care about, and I feel like with her family, like I'm so close with them, and I'm breaking up with more than just her and calling this off, and it's more than just like about us. So like hearing someone else say like it'll be okay, we'll be okay, you know what I mean? But I did have like a fear that I was like, she's gonna like resent me for being like the one that's like, break up with her, like quit doing this, you know what I mean? But as a friend, I feel like you have to say that sometimes when you see these things happening, because like if not, then what type of friend are you, you know? Really? I don't know.
It's so hard because it's so easy to get defensive when someone else in your life says something negative about your partner, especially. I was gonna say like friend even, but like it's even harder for a partner. And that could have gone like completely the opposite way. Like there's a chance that conversation could have been like, oh, you don't support us, well, F you, and you're not coming to the wedding. And then he goes and tells the girl like, oh, you think he's your friend? Well, he just tried to end our relationship. Like it could have gone the opposite way. And like I'm sure you knew that and like maybe thought about that. I don't know, did you think about that before, or did you know them well enough to know like they're reasonable people, they're gonna hear me out as a friend?
Yeah, no. Well, I knew it enough that like there was no questioning that they like were starting to resent each other in their relationship.
Okay.
Like it was not good.
Yeah, it wasn't like
they
you
just
were doing
weren't
it
saying it out loud.
Okay. I was going to say, sorry to cut you off. It wasn't like you were saying it at the first sign of like distress or like the first like insult. It's like it was clear by this time.
It was a very clearly like unhealthy relationship. They both knew it. They were going through with it, I think, because they were just together for a while.
Yeah.
And I felt like that was what they had to do.
Right. Like next step is engagement.
Yeah. And it wasn't like my conversation wasn't like you need to go and break up with her today. It was more so like think about your guys' future and like if this is sustainable, because the way that you're talking to her right now and the way that you're both treating each other doesn't seem sustainable or like enjoyable to me. Like, are you having fun together anymore? So more so like getting him there on his own.
Yeah.
But I think he was already there. He just needed someone to say like, we see the way that you guys are and what you're feeling is valid, and like maybe think about it a little bit more, you know?
Wow. So before you had that conversation, did you like text him and say, hey, can I call you about something like serious? Like, did you mentally prep him? Or did you just kind of like call him one day and say, like, I need to talk to you?
Yeah, I don't even remember exactly. Actually, I think it was in person. I don't think it was even on the phone.
Okay.
I think that he had asked to go to lunch or something like that. So I think that he maybe even wanted to talk about it anyways. You know what I mean?
Okay, yeah.
But it's hard to bring up things like that in general, though. You know what I mean? Like even with friends, like if things feel off with like a friend, like they're very vulnerable conversations. But I feel like when you're really close to someone, like you have to do that. You know what I mean? It doesn't mean that it's easy. But
how long after that conversation did they actually break up?
Like less than a week, I think.
Shut up.
Yeah. But again, I think that he was thinking about it.
Right.
And I think too, even him asking me to get lunch was kind of like seeing what the feelers were going to be like if he ended on his own. Like, are we still going to be friends? And like, could we, like, we would hang out without her anyways, you know what I mean? But like, he knew that we were all feeling that they were off because there were multiple like breakdowns with all of us there where we were like the boys were taking him and the girls had her and like we had to separate them and like, you know what I mean, like nothing physical or anything, but like they were where they would get in like arguments, you know what I mean? So he knew that we all saw it.
Wow.
So I think that even like the lunch like was more so just to see like will we still be able to be friends and stuff like that, you know?
Are you still friends?
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing.
Not as much with her, but there were like some other things that happened afterward. With like other friends. Like I'm not like my choices weren't the reason for why I'm not friends with her that much anymore. I don't see him all the time, but I also don't live, you know, where I grew up. So.
Wow, that's crazy. Wow, I'm very proud of you. That's so hard. When I was gathering, like I was looking through other people's opinions on red flags that people let slide, and somebody wrote, if everyone in your life doesn't like your partner or is telling you something about your partner, it's probably because they are seeing something that you're not seeing. And that is so hard. Like the amount of people, even in my life, that I have witnessed that exact thing happen, and then guess what, they were terrible, that something tragic happened, something terrifying happened, and what did every single person in your life tell you? And I think it's just a lesson for everyone. If you feel that you have an amazing group of friends, if you genuinely know that your friends and your family have your best intentions in mind and they support you, they've supported you for years, there's nothing toxic going on. If every single person that you feel that about says, I don't know about this one, maybe you should listen to them. Maybe you should try to see what they see, because it's probably a sign. And it's not everyone ganging up on you. It's everyone that loves you looking out for your best interest. And it's just glaring to them. Like, it's so hard. Yeah,
and it's so easy to put your blinders on when you're the one that's in the relationship with that person. You know what I mean? Because like it's something that you want. So, or like there are sometimes I feel like that genuinely like you are so like infatuated that you don't even realize.
Yeah.
Like you just don't get it. You know what I mean? Like I've had that before where friends will like gently be like, well, what do you think about like this? You know what I mean? Or like whatever. And I appreciate that they did that. But it is also hard as a friend to bring that up. You know what I mean? Because you see your friend and you want to be so happy for them. So it's a hard, tough conversation to have, but like a necessary one. And that's like what the test of like friendship is.
Yeah.
You know?
No, it's so hard to bring up because it is everyone's first instinct to be defensive and be like, oh, well, you don't know them like I do. You don't know the whole situation. Like you don't have all the facts like I do. And it's like, well, you don't even need all the facts to see this one like huge red flag or problem. But actually that's kind of happening to, this is like a friend of a friend, but basically this girl's best friend is, since high school, is engaged, and whenever she goes and visits her friend and stays with this couple, the way that he treats her is like terrible, and he blatantly calls her like stupid in front of her friend.
That's horrible.
Yeah. And it's like, imagine what he's saying to her or about her when nobody else is watching, because that's what he's saying when her friends are in the room. And she just thinks that her friend is in this relationship because she's like too scared to get over it or break up and move on. She likes him just enough and is settling with him. Like, she basically does not think that they should be together, and she thinks the guy's an asshole. Oh yeah, she has dogs, and the guy will like kick the dogs and talk badly about them when the girl isn't there. Like, I think that the friend was staying with them and the girl went to work and the guy worked from home. So she was with the guy like all day, and the way that he treated her dogs was bad. And he did that in front of her friend. Like, imagine what he's doing when no one is there. Like, yeah. That's just crazy. Or he is completely heartless and it doesn't matter if you're there or not because he doesn't give a shit. He's going to be that way regardless, which is also bad. But anyway, they got engaged and the girl is like super conflicted. She asks her to be her maid of honor and stand next to her while she says her vows. And I was like, dude, this is so fucking hard, but I kind of feel like you have to say something, because if you don't support her marrying this guy, then why are you standing up on the altar next to them while they say their vows? And like, honestly, if it was me, I might be too weak to say something. Like, I don't know how I would handle it, because I mean, I would hope that I'm not too weak, but it's such a hard conversation. And like, imagine if it went the negative way where the bride is like, well, if you don't support me, we're not friends anymore. And it's like, well, then she's off in this toxic relationship and she doesn't have anyone now because you're her best friend and she doesn't have you. But at the same time, sometimes the only way to like that happens all the time. And sometimes the only way to get out of it is that the person lives through it and then they have to come to their own breaking point. And hopefully it's not going to be too late, you know? I don't know. It's just like so scary and like sad. And I don't know if they've gotten married yet. And I don't know if my friend has ever talked to her about it, but I think she had been trying to do the like, hey, I noticed that he said something like this. Like, how do you feel about that? Like, basically they were having a conversation about college, where they went to college. And he said, oh, well, blank is stupid, so she wouldn't have done that. Imagine if I was like, oh, well, Jimmy's stupid, so he wouldn't have done that in front of all your friends or in front of your best friend. What? Crazy. Yeah. And you were just like, oh, ha, ha, ha. No, I'm not. What? And then if your best friend said to you like, hey, I realized that she said you were stupid. Like, did that make you feel good? And you were just like, oh, like they didn't mean it, blah, blah, blah. Like, it's almost like, I don't know how to help her, honestly. I don't know. I mean, what are you supposed to do when you're giving your friend these like cues to try to have them come to their senses on their own, but it's just not working? Yeah.
And lately, like, because those comments like come off so much, like often, I feel like sometimes like with certain people that they like make comments like that. Anymore, I literally every time I'll either be like, that's a weird thing to say, or I'm like, what's your intention behind saying that, and making them answer to it, because then it's like, you look like the fucking asshole. Yeah, like you look like an asshole, like big, and like that's just a way of like showing those people that they look like that. I feel like it's really hard to have a conversation like that though if you're like asked to be maid of honor and stuff, because it's like, who am I to like say this? You know what I mean? If that's who she wants to marry, then what are you gonna do? In my case, I feel like they were there already. Like, it just someone had to say it out loud to them and they were fine with it. But I don't know if I would be able to do it. I don't know if I would be able to like at that point in that. Yeah. You know what I mean? But it's really hard, like even hearing about the animals, because there's so much like research behind like people who like treat animals poorly and then like the type of people that they are. So that would be like a big red flag for me too. Yeah. So I would just be curious if like is the girl's friend, like, has she brought up anything that she like has concerns about? I also think a lot of times in these relationships, sorry, I'm just like rambling.
No, go.
A lot of times in these relationships in the beginning, they're really, really good with these men, or like with the women too. Like, you know what I mean? Like the girls could be just as like emotionally abusive to men, or, you know what I mean? Same sex relationships. People are people. In the beginning, it's so good. And then you hang on to those beginning feelings and you like desire and want that. And you think that it could get there again, but like it's not getting there again. And that's why people move forward with these things. And then who knows where they end up, you know what I mean? But they're thinking about what they had in the beginning. And like it's not sustainable.
It's not at all. I think that's so common.
Yeah. And I feel like for me, like a lot of my friends and I talk about how we're like different in the fact that like all of our parents have like stayed together. Like obviously now my mom has since passed, but like my parents were like best friends till my mom died. They were like 100%, like their bond was it. And all of my friends, like our parents are still together and like married and stuff like that. But divorce is so common, you know what I mean? And I think about those relationships where I have other friends whose parents are just together because they don't want to get divorced at this point. They're like, whatever, you know what I mean? And I just feel bad for people like that where like in this situation, like could that have been avoided? You know what I mean? If they were feeling that way back then.
Right.
But I mean, everyone has to make their own decisions at the same time. I don't think that I'd be able to say something if I were that girl. I really don't.
I would think so. They're long distance friends, so it's not like the girls are hanging out one-on-one all the time. I would hope that if it was one of my friends that I am with all the time, I would hope that I would be able to say things to them like early on in the relationship, or maybe like as soon as these things started. But I think that this couple, like they got engaged very quickly or they moved in very quickly, engaged very quickly after that, like just very fast moving relationship, and they were long distance. So she really didn't have like time or the opportunity to bring things up prior, because by the time things start happening, when you're moving that fast in a relationship, it's too late. You already have the ring on your finger. You're already planning the wedding. So that's another reason why I am a proponent of not getting engaged and just going slow in relationships, regardless of what you think you want, regardless of how well you think you know someone. You do not know someone in a matter of a few months. That's when people have this like perfect facade up. And like, that's what you were just saying about how it starts good in the beginning. No, that's so true, because when you meet someone, it's human nature to show them your best qualities. It's human nature to put on a facade and not show them any of your negative traits and only be this perfect person. And then it's like maybe when we were talking about like the 80-20 thing, it's like, well, 100% of the time it's compliments. Then 20% of the time it's insults, but you still have 80% of the compliments. And slowly that number starts to fluctuate. So now you're 50% insults, 50% compliments. And by the time like you're a year or two into this relationship, you're maybe getting a compliment from them 5% of the time, but it's because they're insulting you and then they're just giving you a quick compliment to like make up for it. Or don't be mad at me. You know I love you. I think you're the prettiest girl. And it's like, okay. And it's like that 5% or 10%, even if it's less than 50% of the time and you're just hanging on to this like good thing that only happens a small fraction of the time that you're together, like that's not sustainable. That's not healthy. But people are so in love and like you want to make it work because you love the person and you love who they are 5% of the time. And so you're willing to disregard the 95% of the time that they're terrible to you. And that's exactly what a toxic relationship is. And it just like, it gets that way sometimes over a longer period of time. But because you have these like good moments, you trick yourself into thinking that they can be good like that all the time. Like if they could only be good 95% of the time, well, they can't, because they're not. So like you're hoping that they're just going to magically change into this person that they're not, because 95% of the time they are showing you who they are. And it's so hard to like act on it. That's so sad.
Yeah. And like trust who they're showing you that they are. You know what I mean? Like not who they want to be.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah.
I don't know. And I mean, relationships are work. So that's why it's just important to like, I feel like you're in a relationship and you feel it taking that turn. It's like really important to be like, hey, when you make comments like that, like it kind of hurts my feelings. And like, you know, every once in a while, like maybe I like don't have as thick of skin as you, but like it does hurt my feelings. So like, I'd appreciate if you like stop doing that. And seeing how they react to something like that is even more telling, you know?
Yeah.
What I mean? But saying it out loud is important, because that might be like what they grew up seeing as what a relationship is, and like bagging on each other all the time and things like that. And if you don't say anything, then they might not even know that it's, you know, hurting you that much. But
yeah, that's a great point, because it's like the idea of like, do people change? Can people get better? Like, of course, people change all the time. Some people. some people change for the better and some people are not capable of doing that. So yeah, that's such a good point. It's like, if you're just hoping that they're magically going to change, communicate, talk about your problems, give them a chance to change. But if they don't change, you have your answer. But it's really hard to accept. And it's probably just as hard for your friends to say it to you. And like, and as someone that's in the relationship, it's probably even harder to hear it because you're the one that has to go and like change your whole life. Whereas for your friend that's like coming and trying to help you, it's a conversation for them. But to you, it's like, you have to change everything in your life. If you live with this person, if they're like your future, you know, but is that what you deserve? Like,
I know they're
so
hard
sad.
Conversations to have.
I'm really inspired by you having that conversation though.
I just hope it doesn't come across as if I was like the driving force
No.
to making him call off the engagement. I don't think that it is, right?
I mean, even if you were, that I would be like more proud, honestly, that you...
Yeah.
No, I think you clarified like pretty well that it wasn't like the guy was coming to you probably to say the same thing and you just happened to like beat him to the punchline. You know?
It just had to be like said out loud, I think, for them. You know what I mean? But they knew it.
Yeah.
And everyone around them knew it.
Totally. Yeah. No, I feel like you're so nervous.
No, I'm not nervous. I'm not. Everyone's like this single man. He's just tearing everyone's relationships apart.
But you know that there's a chance that like that has definitely happened when like someone tries to have that conversation. It's like, well, you're just jealous. Yeah. Like you just want me to not be happy. And it's like, okay, well, I'm your best friend. So do you genuinely think that? Or is it a defense mechanism that you're trying to blame me now? Yeah.
And they're like, I have friends that are in relationships that it's like, that's not what I would want in a relationship, but that works for them. And like, that's great. You know what I mean? Like, I would never say anything to them about that because that's what makes them happy and like, they're good. You know what I mean? But neither of them were happy. Yeah. You know, like, and they knew that they weren't happy. So, yeah. I don't know.
I'm proud of you.
Oh, thank you.
Do you want to do any more? I feel like we talked for so long.
I don't know.
I feel like we could do a whole another episode on all the other ones.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you have anything else you want to end on?
No, I could save them for the next time.
Okay. I feel like that was a solid ending. Yeah. Like I feel good about that ending.
So I know which ones I did. So
okay. I forgot. I have the whole list of ones that I got from other people. And I feel like I have like examples from like I have stories about them from my own life that I'm like, yes, because X, Y, and Z. And I definitely could just talk about this for another 3 hours. So I feel like we should do another one.
I'm in.
Yay.
Okay.
Cool. Okay. Well, thank you so much for listening to our podcast. It got deep there. I liked it.
Yeah, it did.
It was heavier than I expected, but I guess that makes sense because we're talking about red flags that typically lead to toxic relationships.
We've seen them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for listening, and we love you. We appreciate you, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.
Bye.